Round of applause to the start of the Froch Groves UK Tour, brought to you by Maker Promotions. It's time to welcome in our main guests for the evening. A former super middleweight world champion who completed his 10-year professional career with a record of 28 victories from 32 fights, 20 coming by way of knockout. Hailing from London, England, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the man who goes by the name of St. George Groves. George, thank you very much. Take your seats, I will come to you in a moment's time. Now to our second guest, a four-time super middleweight world champion, 33 wins from 35 fights across 12 years as a professional, hailing from Nottingham, England. Put your hands together for the Cobra, Carl Froch! Tell me, what is actually going through your mind? Are you ever actually achieving anything when these stare downs are happening?
Well, at the minute I'm thinking he's never a fucking super middleweight.
I'm thinking, I can't eat a geezer this old.
Kessler, you were sparring with Kessler, and you didn't necessarily...
I think that was the rematch. That was the rematch.
For the second Kessler fight. You weren't necessarily happy that he was off
that to help the Dane beat the Englishman. You know what I mean?
So tell us, like, in terms of the stage that you were at your career then, were you sort of, and don't take this the wrong way, but almost like a gun for hire? It's like, well, no, look, if I'm going to get an opportunity to go and spar with Kessler, then I'm just going to take it. I don't care if it's going to maybe help him knock out Carl Froch.
Yeah, no, we'd sparred a few times beforehand, you know. So I'd sparred Carl before his first fight with Kessler, and it sort of got to that stage where me and Carl weren't going to spar anymore because I was on the verge of, you know, one or two fights away from, you know, being at his level. So that, you know, that wasn't accessible to me. The Kessler sparring opportunity came up, and I thought, yeah, it's great sparring. Denmark, pretty cool. Never been.
Tony Benny was the first man to ever put me down like up here. I don't talk about it much. I mean, he never does. But Tony Benny put me on the floor in sparring. I backed him up. I mean, he was 2 stone heavier than me. Not making excuses. And he can punch. And he can punch Tony Benny. And I backed him up. I was hitting him. I was in control of the spar. I was thinking, fuck him, I'm gonna chill him, scouse prick. So I was quite mean. I was quite like, when I sparred, I didn't spar and think I'll take my time and I'll just work on something. Well, every time I sparred, I always tried to knock my opponent out. I sparred like a box. Later on in my career, I changed my mindset and attitude. Rob McCracken, my coach, he said, you're just going to have to take your time a little bit and try and learn in that. But I took sparring quite personal, because when I first turned pro, I was sparring with Howard Eastman and a guy called Wayne Alexander, remember him? The light middleweight, like British champ. And they could all punch really hard, and it was all like trying to fucking knock me out. As far as I'm concerned, Howard Eastman's trying to chin me. So I'm fighting for my life. And I'm thinking, this is how it is as a professional. You get in the ring and everyone's trying to chin you. In America, and I got to the final of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic and boxed Andre Ward. And if you're not seeing that fight, I lost on points to Andre Ward, who's apparently a fantastic fighter, he's brilliant, he's retired undefeated, he's not lost a fight since he was 12, but he just fucking holds and runs and gets his head on your chest. It's fucking boring. That's why he retired at 30 years old. 30 years old, multiple world champion, he retired. Why did he retire? Because HBO didn't want to pay him any money to fight. He had nowhere to go, no one wants to watch him fight. He put a glass eye to sleep. It's boring. And I've listened to everyone saying, oh, you got outclassed and Andre Ward's brilliant and Andre Ward's this. Well, great. It's better for me to say Andre Ward's brilliant because I lost to him. And if he's gone on to never get beat, then it's not a bad loss, is it? You know what I mean? I didn't get chinned anyway. Well, never been chinned. This is granite chin. So what was we talking about before I went off on the show?
I'm learning.
We're not scripted for this. This is all ad lib.
It is all ad lib. It really is. Right. So when I ask a question,
oh, that was it. I've got it. So I boxed Kessler in a rematch.
You were complacent going into this.
Beat
fight.
him. Yeah, we're talking about the first George Groves fight in Manchester. So I beat Kessler in the rematch on pay-per-view on Sky. Earned a few quid. Good bunts. And then I'm thinking, now what do? I need a big fight, another big fight. It's Chavez Jr. in America, Vegas, whatever, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? I just beat Lucian Bute, and then the Kessler fight after the Mac fight was the first big fight back on Sky pay-per-view. Won that fight, great, got the rematch. Now I need something really big, like never been to Las Vegas and boxed, never took on a top sort of American in the big lights and the big lights in Vegas. I thought something like that's going to happen, or we'll get someone over to Nottingham or maybe the Forest Ground. And all of a sudden Eddie Hearn phoned me up and says, George Groves is mandatory for your IBF title. I went, George fucking Groves? Are you having a laugh? There's no disrespect, George won't world champ. He's mandatory for the IBF title. I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is going to be crap. It's not going to be a big sell. Who knows who George Groves is? In my head I was thinking, this ain't a big fight. Little to my knowledge, did I know how big it would be. In my head, I was thinking, I don't want to fight George Groves. One, he can punch hard, he's got fast hands. I'll beat him, I'll take anyone on the beat. In my head, I can beat anyone when I get in that ring. I'll back myself, I'm confident. I do the training, and I go in there to win. And I thought I could beat him, but I just thought, it's not going to be a big fight, I can't really get up for it. He's a bit of a prick. It's nice to beat a prick up, but I wasn't looking at it like that. I was looking at it like it's not a big fight. I don't think he's a prick now, by the way. It sounds George. This sounds like I'm being a bully here now, but I'm not. I'm just saying it how it is. I didn't want to fight George Groves. I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I didn't think it was a big sell.
Okay.
And Eddie Hearn did a fantastic job. Well, we did the job, but Eddie Hearn promoted it.
So how did you view this opportunity?
Yeah, this was my opportunity. I suppose I had my eye on Carl as much as every other world champion out there, but
this is great, isn't it? I'm loving this.
Yeah, well, I had my eye on Carl. As I say, I'd already upset him with the Kessler sparring. Boxed chief support to his win against Kessler, and Carl had now finally arrived. He'd been in the shadows for years. He'd had all these mega fights.
I'd already won a world title.
Yeah, he'd done it, but no one knew who he was, did they? He walked down the street, I mean, I felt sorry for Carl. Do you know what I mean? For years and years and years, I was like, man, who'd want to be you? Do you know what I mean? You've had all these world title fights, and no one's seen them, And then the one fight, when he gets bashed, he gets really sort of dominated, and that's the one that everyone remembers is the Andre Ward fight, But to his credit, and I wouldn't give it to him there and then. He come back and he.
That was a promotional problem because he's right what he's saying. I boxed John Pascal in 2008, December 2008, and I went over to America April 2009. And fought Jermaine Taylor, bad intentions Jermaine Taylor, former undisputed middleweight champion, fucking a ferocious fighter, yeah? And he beat the shit out of me for 6, 7, 8 rounds, put me down for the first time in my career, and I clawed back, dug in this, stayed with it, believed in myself, and absolutely knocked fuck out of him in round 12. I got a stoppage, and nobody saw it, because I had a useless fucking promoter.
I sort of I throw one, just touch. Carl thinks, right, well, that weren't so bad. He probably thought I'll walk through the next one. Walks in, crosses his legs, comes square, bounces off the back leg, right hand. I remember going down, first round, and just thinking, yeah, that's alright. I don't like.
Did you feel like you landed a big shot when the right hand landed?
It was a nice right hand. It wasn't one of them ones where you feel the knuckles on the bone, as you say, but it was I was like, oh, that's it, right? let's see if he gets up from that. He gets up, right, well, I'll put him away.
But did it shock you as much as it shocked?
No, if you look, there's a great picture, well, great picture for me, put on a few car, but you're like all the way down, and the whole of the front row, which is pretty much my family and some of the team, and they're all like, whoa, you know, and there's just me, just stoic, like, okay, business back to.
I couldn't believe what you'd done. You was like, fuck it, what am I doing?
No, but if I'll be like this,
Fuck it, bastard, just land on.
But it's the first round. In my head, I'm just thinking, well, that was, you know, it'll come. I've got plenty of time to get rid of him now. It's alright. I was so focused on the challenge, like, which is Carl, which is the hardest fight I've ever had. You know, up until this date, it's got to be this. Got to stay switched on. And, like, I'm not gonna now suffocate with excitement. Like, all this fight's nearly over. I never like to look erratic, you know, with the finish. So he gets up, bell goes real quick and saves him. But before that, I'm thinking, I'm just going to touch him, wait till he throws something, hit him. I remember thinking, I'm going to hit him on the bell, like not after the bell, but on the bell.
It was after the bell.
And it was like on/after the bell. And I just wanted him to like taste the leather and go, why has he done that? He didn't hit me after the bell. And yeah, but so it's like, no panic, not like, oh no, missed opportunity. At that point, I'm just thinking, great, you know, that was a good first round. Like, we'll get him again soon. Didn't, but tried.
For me, George was now coming into new territory. World Championship level fight, championship round, second half of the fight, and guess what? I'm back in the room. I feel fucking great. I've just recovered. It took me 18 minutes to recover. It took me 6 3-minute rounds to get myself back, and I felt like, boom, the switch went off. And whether it was because I felt George tiring or whether because something cleared in my head, I just thought, right, now you're in my fucking world.
See, I knew that was
second half of the fight, my world.
But
World Championship level.
You still lost the
World
7
title
and 8.
fucking level.
You still lost them.
Round 7 was a good round for me. Round 8 was a good
It
round.
wasn't. It was a better round for you because you didn't get your head.
Listen, a man's got pride. A man's got pride. He's got to look. He's got, you know, his ego and everything. He's going to say to himself, "I was in the fight, right?" And we know what's coming. Howard Foster stopped the fight too early, which I disagree with. But round 7 and round 8,
you disagree that he stopped it too early.
I don't think it was too early. No, I think it could have been. It could have gone on. It could have gone on longer. And as a fan, it was maybe a bit early.
Okay, just pause for a second.
But we'll come to that. But round 7, and I feel, was it round 8 or round 9? What? Did it get stopped? Yeah, was it 9 or 8?
It's about 9.
Round 9. So round 7 and round 8, I'm going back to my corner thinking, I've got this. In my head, I'm sitting down smiling, I'm happy. All right, I got him a couple of shots and he had his share of the rounds. But I'm backing him up, I'm putting him in the corner, I'm putting him against the ropes. I'm marching him forward. His shots aren't hurting me. I'm getting in close and I'm going, fucking have that under there, you prick, and get that on your way out. Do you know what I mean? And I'm getting to him, and I'm thinking it's only a matter of time. And that was round 7, round 8, come out for round 9. What was you going to say?
I was going to ask, just a quick show of hands. The point, presumably everyone in the room saw the fight. If you haven't, you probably watched it back or whatever. Who thought the fight was stopped prematurely?
No.
Okay, so what are we saying now? That's
not crowded seat.
two of hands. So that's
50-50,
50-50, isn't it? So it's 50-50. No, but that's interesting. That's 50-50.
That's why the rematch was so good.
No, but I
There's
think
a split opinion.
Yeah, of course.
It's all conclusive.
But the gut I think what it was, the gut feeling of people watching from home, I wasn't really in that night, I was watching from home, everyone was thinking, because of the way that it started, the way that it panned out, the real
100% agree with it, and the amount of world title fights I've
The real
watched.
problem was that Cole didn't land any shots on me, and Howard Foster jumped in and stopped the fight for no fucking reason. But don't get me wrong, so like, I got pasty skin, I got like, you know, I got a bit red, my nose didn't work, you know, so I breathe out my mouth, I got this low left hand posture, I look a bit more tired, I don't carry myself as well as Cole did, but I wasn't getting hit.
For all the people
and
that had
I miss a shot and Howard Foster gets me in a headlock and the referee stops the fight and the fight's over. So, I mean, don't forget it's Carl, it's Eddie, it's Robert Smith for the board, you know, they'll tell a fantastic story about how it was going to happen, but it was just one of them things, you know.
It's a proper split opinion. There was a half a show of hands saying the fight was stopped too early.
Yeah.
So the other half agreed that the fight should have been stopped. George is in there and he's adamant that the fight was stopped too early. If I was in George's position, I would 100% think the fight was stopped too early.
Yeah.
Because he had a fantastic first 6 rounds, dropped me, and hang on a minute, first time I won to the Karsh, and you didn't not get hit, you got hit. You got hit with a right hand and a left hook. You came off the
I
ropes.
wish we had it in.
This is what you
I
did.
wish we had it in now.
And now I'll give you
So when you stop a fight, if you literally say,
He took a right hand, his head did this, then he's on the ropes, and then for a right hand,
Bang.
and a left hook.
missed,
And then he went,
And
bosh, and then he come forward like this, and then his arms did this. He was like, fucking hell, ref, save me for fuck's sake, like this. And the referee jumped in.
It dropped down.
At what point did you not get hit?
My arm did drop down when
You got hit for 4 shots. You got hit for 4 shots on the chin.
Didn't get any 4 shots.
What? Did you get hit with nothing?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't land anything
No,
significant.
next time we do this talk, we're having a video on it.
We will.
We're going to do it in slow motion.
It was stopped early. You know, stopped early. The truth is, obviously.
Well, I got the win. I went home with a smile on my face, and George obviously was tormented by the fact he's thinking, hang on, I'd have won that 5 points. If it
Did you
hadn't
go
been
home with a smile on your face, or did you go home thinking,
well, no,
I got away with that?
No, not got away with that. I was like thinking, I've not been cheered, I've not had the accolade that I feel I deserved. Got put down in round 1.
Yeah.
Got absolutely smashed for 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Any man in this room or in this country, let George Groves knock you down in round 1 and let him punch fucking holes in you for 6 rounds, and then you still stand up and still do what I did, whether the ref stopped it early or not. You go through that pain and go down and you can cuss and bite down on your gum shield and say to yourself, I ain't gonna fucking quit. I ain't gonna quit, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna stick with this, I'm the champ, I'm gonna fucking believe in myself and stay with it. You know what I mean? You do that and then tell me that, you know, both of us deserve massive respect. George was robbed of the win, potentially in his head. I was robbed of a conclusive stoppage in my head. But that will always ever be a debate. George thinks he was going to win. I think I'm going to win. We will never know. And that's why we got the rematch. That's why the rematch was so good.
And that's
why so many people turned up.
Yeah.
I don't know how many were there. Yeah. But it was a big crowd.
Before we get to what it was like walking out in front of 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium.
Saving that all night. In the rematch, we barely landed a shot. I was happy to not land a shot because I wasn't getting hit. And that was the game plan. Take the centre of the ring, back him up. You can only circle around the ring so long before round 7, round 8 comes and you start to get tired, you start to go flat-footed. And all of a sudden you're in the corner or you're against the ropes. And that's, you know, the rest is history.
Well, tell us about that historic moment on a historic night.
Did you feel that you was getting backed up to the ropes or into the corner? Did you feel you was under pressure? No. So George is happy.
I fought off the ropes. I fought at double distance. You know, I always kept it at long range, a real fast jab, springing in and out of range, and then I'd circle round. You know, and round. You know, sometimes it worked really well for me. Sometimes it didn't. You know, but that's that was my comfort zone. In the first fight, yeah, you know, I dropped you early, but that's where you was marching forward, and then you know, you was like a bit of a sitting duck for rounds on end. So I got to push the fight. But in the rematch, it was kind of like, that's just how I fight, and I suppose that's how you fight. You have to press off the front foot, but I like to fight off the back foot. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't sitting down at the end of the rounds going, oh, you know, I need to do something about this. Just like, oh, this is good. Just build into it. But never really did.
So it wasn't an exciting fight like the first one where you rewind the tape and watch it, and you watch it from round 1 right through to when they stop. You know what I mean? But you drop your left hand just at the perfect moment as that right hand was coming over the top. And if I'd have said to George, just stand there, don't move, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can on the chin, just don't move, I wouldn't be able to hit him any harder. I don't hit people with them shots that hard, that flush. So in that sense, I can see where George says it was a lucky punch, it was a punch from the gods. But it was all part of the build-up and positioning and manoeuvring and getting him on the ropes, getting him in that corner, and then split second, check up, right hand, fuck off you twat, out cold, in front of 80,000 fans, boom, and that was it for me. That was the end of my career. And I don't mean that in a bad way, that at the time, that's how it felt, and I just thought, that's my fucking job done. That's what I came to do. Now, I don't care about post-fight press conference, I don't care about rubbish talking or taking the piss. We shook hands, there's no beef, it's a fight between 2 men. He had an amazing first fight, he had a bad second fight, or I had a great second fight, and then he went on to win a world title. That's the mark of a man, how you come back from the last fight. And that's why I enjoy George so much. I always go to take a piss a little bit tongue in cheek, saying fuck off and twat, and knock you out from the 80,000 at Wembley Stadium. Because that'll always be there. But we both played a part in that, and we needed each other. You need a dance partner. And the fact that George went on to do what he did, for me, that's just justified. That justifies everything. It's a happy ending. Happy ending for both of us.
Last word from me, Carl. Last word from you, George, just for the time being. We'll go to what he expresses in a little bit. But I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. That it was just that moment. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but you did go on, and it wasn't the end. Which is, I suppose, it's nice to be able to look back at it as the event, as those two.
When you got knocked out in front of 80,000, you took a little nap, didn't you? Like snoring for like a split second. You was asleep, weren't you? When you woke up, did you like realise what happened? Did you see like fucking I was being chinned in front of 80,000, or was you like fucking what just happened?
Yeah, no, I stood up. I looked at the corner and I was obviously the ref was waving off now. I looked at the corner and they looked at me. I was like, oh fuck man, I've been asleep longer than I thought.
Did it feel like you'd had a little nap? Like,
well, I didn't feel rested, but I wasn't that tired either. I was really pissed off fight. But you know, I mean, it's.
At what point did you know the fight was over? When you called a man like an orange bandana,
yeah, he might have. I was up before the 10 count, but I wasn't ready to carry it. I wasn't good enough to carry it.
You shot up. You shot up.
You don't think it was stopped early?
I was in.
You're not arguing. You didn't go to the IBF and complain and say, listen, it was a bit fucking early that.
It wasn't as early as Howard Foster's stoppage rate, I'll tell you.
So we settled, George?
Yeah, Froch free? Yeah, that's about Froch one.
We could do Froch free, couldn't we? Have one on exhibition.
No!
I'll still fuck you up there.
I can't seem to beat you, like, I don't want to fight you.
Would you do an exhibition?
No.
No?
I can't be bothered, don't need it.
I don't blame you,
I used to love Gerald McLennan, just to watch Gerald McLennan. I mean, I'd love to have had a go. Wouldn't want to get hit on his right hands, but I'd love to have had a go. And I wouldn't have cared where. Do you know what I mean? I box in Vegas, and it's not as great as it seems. You know, I boxed in the undercard of Floyd Mayweather, and it's better. Better Jack, yeah. So it's better to box in the UK. You get treated much better. The welterweights, I'm interested in Crawford Spence and the rest of them who are competing at that level. I don't like heavyweights. I don't really get sucked into the heavyweight scene. I feel like. The talent don't match up. If you take them heavyweights, you shrink them down, you put them in other divisions, they wouldn't be able to compete. But the welterweights for me are really exciting.
Well, listened, and it's been an enjoyable night. I think I'm speaking for George as well on that.
Definitely, thank you. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.